What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to set to sag on this YZ250 two-stroke. To help us record the sag, we've got this special tool. It pinches against the rear fender, and then down here at the bottom, we've got this little insert that just slides. It's kind of tapered, so it should be able to fit. Inside most axles, and it will record the sag. So this measurement right here, we'll push it down as we sit on the bike, and the bike starts to sag. This will pop up, and then as we put it back on the stand, it'll stay in position. It'll tell us how far the bike sagged. Looking at the owner's manual for this bike, we're looking at a standard setting of anywhere from 90 to 100 millimeters. So I can tell you right now, the sag on this bike is going to be more than 100 millimeters. Couple of factors. So I used to run it at about 105 millimeters. I wanted a little bit more sag because this is a YZ250 two-stroke. This bike is lighter, turns sharper than just about everything else on a track, so you can afford to run a few more millimeters of sag and gain a little bit more stability in the really fast, choppy stuff. So that's what I did. So I ran around 105, but two additional factors I think are going to push it past 105. One, I'm about 30 pounds heavier than I was last time I checked the sag on this a few years ago. Two, the spring on this shock is like 9 years old. Doesn't sound a lot to some people, but when you think about all of the open practice sessions, all of the races over the last 9 years, the spring is probably due to be replaced. But we're gonna go with it as is and see where the sag ends up. I think it's probably gonna be like 115, something like that, maybe an extra 10 millimeters with my fat butt on the bike. We'll see. Alright, so clearly 125 millimeters is significantly more than 100, or even where I had it set at 105. So, man, have I gained some weight. So the first thing we're going to do is loosen this top lock nut or collar, depends on what you want to refer to it as. Okay. So now once it's finger loose, you can move that out of the way. That's probably high enough. And we want to add some more preload, kind of shrink the spring down a little bit so that when my fat butt gets on top of it, it doesn't sink so much. Or sag, I should say. Alright, so I'm switching to the other side of the bike just for easier access to tighten the adjusting collar. Or nut, whichever you prefer. So you can see how much additional preload we put on the shock by the difference in color of the threads. We probably started about right here. So I'd say we've added probably, I don't know, 4 to 5 threads in terms of length of additional preload on the shock spring. So I think it's time to measure the sag one more. All right, let's measure the sag again. I'm kind of cheating a little bit because I'm doing it by myself, and I'm using this stand to kind of balance myself. Ideally, in a perfect world, you would have somebody holding the handlebars from the front of the bike, and that way you would have both feet on both pegs, just as if you were riding the bike. Another thing is it's always a good idea, if you want the most accurate measurement, to actually be geared up as if you're going to ride. For example, if you're an off-road guy and you ride with a Camelback, guess what? Water's heavy. If you ride with a toolkit, tools are heavy too. So all of that, it has an effect on the measurement of the sag. So if you want it to be absolutely the most accurate measurement you can get, then you should just gear up as if you're going to actually go for a ride. All right. So it looks like we are right around 100, just below 115 millimeters. So we've dropped about 10 millimeters of sag. It's not quite where I want it to be, but before we go any further, what we're gonna do now is check the static sag. And to do that, we're just gonna take the bike off the stand, drop this down. Actually, what we're first gonna do is just kind of bounce the bike, set the suspension a little bit, drop this down, put it back on the stand, and that's the static sag. No rider weight, just the weight of the motorcycle. And looks like, ooh, we're just over 20 millimeters, 21, 22 millimeters. Guys, I think I'm gonna stop there. So race sag is around 115 millimeters. Static sag is around just above 20 millimeters, 21, 22 millimeters. I don't want to put any more preload on the shock and drop our static sag below 20 millimeters. Ideally, for a full-size motocross bike, 252 stroke, 254 stroke, 454 stroke, you want to be somewhere in the vicinity of 30 millimeters for your static sag. And what the static sag is telling me is, as I try and get closer to 105, 110 millimeters of race sag, that my static sag dropping down below 20 would indicate that I either need to go to a stiffer spring, I need to lose some weight, one or the other. I also have a feeling, due to the age of the spring, that it's probably past its service limit. And expect another pro tip video coming up in the following weeks, where we'll pull the spring off and we'll measure it and test it to see if it's within its service limit or if it's out of its service limit. If it's out, we'll go ahead and get another spring and we'll reset our race sag and see what the static sag is. At the same time, as summer comes, I'm going to try and lose 5-7 pounds of body fat. That will also help with our race sag setup. So until then, keep the rubber side down and don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh yeah, before I go, I almost forgot. We're going to do the same sag adjustment on the Ninja. Okay, so hey, what's up, Ninja? Yeah. That was stupid. I'm cutting that out. Well, stay tuned, subscribe, like, share, keep the rubber side down, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.